What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies seem to be spiraling out of control. And unfortunately, it feels like it's going to the point where it's unfixable at this point, and we could very well see Ja Morant leave the Memphis Grizzlies. He's had a pretty bad start to the season, or at least one really bad game, but it hasn't been great. Memphis haven't started off great, but to be fair, I just don't understand the Memphis Grizzlies at the moment. We'll talk about it and more in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know what you guys think about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Ja Morant situation and everything in between. So Ja Morant basically has had a couple of interviews now where they talked about his relationship with the coaching staff, and he's talked about, questions being asked essentially about why he's playing this way, what can be done and whatnot. Ja Morant's basically kind of throwing everything to the coaching staff. When asked about what could be done better, he basically said, ask the coaching staff. If it was up to the coaching staff, don't play me and stuff like that. When asked about his relationship with the organization, he said he had a good relationship. If he didn't have a good relationship, he wouldn't be talking to them at all and whatnot. And he talked about losing his joy. The Jimmy Butler saga is back again, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. A lot of fans have kind of turned on Ja Morant in this instance because previous experience has shown that he has been at fault for a lot of the Memphis Grizzlies' problems. I'm just being honest here when I say that. But ultimately, all that's really come from this situation thus far is a one-game suspension for Ja Morant. That's not the end of the world. However, is this a relationship that's beyond repair? Well, for everyone that thought the Memphis Grizzlies were going to be good this season, I would ask you this. Why would they trade Desmond Bane for 4 first-round picks if they thought they were going to be good this season? They have good role players. They have good assets. Ja Morant, on his day, is one of the best players in the league. But at the end of the day, if you thought Memphis were going to be the best of the best this season, I think you just really had high hopes in a team that didn't have high hopes in themselves. If they had high hopes, they would have kept Desmond Bane. They would have tried again with this team. They would have not kept the 4 first-round picks. They're essentially building for their future. Now, the difference between what I thought at the time and what I think now is, I thought at the time Ja Morant was part of their future. He's young enough to build around him. He truly is. And this team has good assets that, if they just draft right, they're going to be right back into contention in a few years' time. But now you look at it now, Ja Morant seems to be a little bit down in the gutters. Doesn't necessarily, feels like he's enjoying his basketball. And ultimately is giving very basic, almost sarcastic answers to the media. You could tell, let's put it this way. Ja Morant's not been media trained, and it's still, to the point, it feels like he's not been media trained. So it feels sarcastic to me. That's how I view it. I could be wrong. Ja Morant could be very much telling the truth. He has a great relationship with the organization. He truly wanted you to ask the coaching staff. And maybe he was just so disgusted with his game that time out that he didn't want to play. Maybe that was the case. But it feels a little bit sarcastic to me. It feels like he's giving subtle messages to how he feels about Memphis and what he wants to be done about his situation. And that is that he doesn't feel happy in Memphis. He obviously said that. He said that publicly. He doesn't feel happy in Memphis. He doesn't feel like he belongs in Memphis at the moment. He's not enjoying his basketball. He doesn't know how to get it back. And essentially, it's leading towards him wanting to leave Memphis. That's how I view the situation. I think it's very, very much as simple as that. I have a couple of questions in mind when it comes to what's next for Ja Morant. 1, which team is going to take him? And 2, can he turn his NBA career around in that new destination? Because, all right, you failed with Memphis essentially. There's one team there that you've ruined the reputation of your own career. You've ruined the reputation of Memphis at this point as well. And it just hasn't worked. They've had a couple of good seasons, but ultimately, in general, it hasn't worked. So if you leave the Memphis Grizzlies, which team is going to take you knowing the reputation that you bring to their organization when they do so? And can you turn it around when you get there? Because that's what needs to happen. Ja Morant is too talented to just be left to the wayside. He's too talented to be left on the bench. He's too talented for suspensions and all this off-drama media. He's too talented. His career was projected to be amazing and is now projected to be in a questionable area. He's too talented for these things, man. But he is doing it to himself. So I do think there's a team out there that's going to take a chance on him. You're essentially getting an MVP caliber player. I know he has injuries that he's been dealt with as well, but you are getting a player that potentially is an MVP caliber player in this league. There will be a team that will want that. There are teams right now that are desperate for a guy like Ja Morant. I think Boston comes to mind. They need superstar quality players to kind of bring their career back. You know what I mean? The Houston Rockets need a point guard. They could very, very much be knocking on the door for a Ja Morant. You know what I mean? There are teams out there that would be interested in a Ja Morant. So I feel like that's the first question done and dusted there. I think a team will be interested in him. The second thing is, can he turn his career around once he gets to that destination? Well, for starters, if he has lost his joy and moving it to a different team will bring his joy back, that should be the first situation of him turning his career around. He'll have a fresh start, different motivations, different teammates, maybe potentially different mentors. Unfortunately, I do feel like Ja Morant is going to need to be with a team that has a little bit of veteran experience and veteran mentorship. That's why when I look at Boston, I think it's a good idea for Boston to kind of pull the trigger on that. No pun intended there, but purely because a guy like Jaylen Brown, I think would be a perfect, and I really mean this, a perfect mentor for Ja Morant. I believe that with my whole heart, because he is a guy that's very sophisticated, very intelligent, went to college, if I'm not mistaken, did things the right way, and has survived and made a big impact in the league and has won a championship. So he's good on the court and off the court. I truly believe that. And Jaylen Brown's not someone to be messed with either. So that's the first thing I would say. So if he goes to the right team, the right mentor could definitely help him revitalize his career. And he also needs to probably go to a team where he is winning and he is competing, and that will make him happy. I think winning does fix a lot of problems as well. I don't know, man. I feel like with Ja Morant, it's an interesting topic, but it's also we're diving into the unknown. One thing I do know for sure, I don't see it surviving in Memphis. I don't see Ja Morant staying in Memphis. I don't see Ja Morant kind of revitalizing his career in Memphis. As much as I would like that to happen, because I think Memphis deserve a guy like Ja Morant, to be honest. They deserve a superstar quality player. They are a team that hasn't had many success in their franchise, but they also have a team that's reputably known for grinding the grindhouse, the doghouse, you know, and having physical, tough teams that will always battle. If you lose Ja Morant, you're losing a big chunk of that. I really believe so. But it has to be done. You got to think about your organization first. And if there's a player there that's affecting your organization, no matter how good they are, they have to go to save your organization's future. So yeah, I think a team like Boston could work. I think a team like the Houston Rockets could work, because I think Kevin Durant ain't going to be messing about with all this stuff as well. If you're trying to win a championship, you've got to be very disciplined in doing so. And that team has destined for a championship right now. That's what the aspirations are. I think a team like Miami could work as well. I know Miami's a pretty bad area in terms of, you know, let's just say it's not the nicest area in the world. It might be nice to live in, like it's summer all the time there, nice and sunny and whatnot. But you know, I'm sure the crime rates in Miami are definitely pretty bad. But also, I think being under a guy like Eric Spoelstra, a veteran coach that's been in the league, I think he's the second longest, maybe the third longest tenured coach in the league, with Greg Popovich, Rick Carlisle, Eric Spoelstra. I think maybe Tom Thibodeau as well. Like he's part of that group of coaches that have been here and done that for a long time. And he's also going to go to an organization with the Miami Heat. They're not going to take any nonsense as well. Pat Riley ain't someone that's going to be played with. If you mess about with his organization, he will ship you off as well. So it gives Ja Morant a little bit of a place where he can kind of grow up properly and be disciplined well as well. That's how I view it. But we'll see. At the end of the day, Ja Morant needs to be the one that changes that narrative. It can't be anybody else. It has to be him. So right now, it's just really an attitude thing. Nothing really off the court related since the last event, a year ago now. So he's kept his off the court drama off the court, at least for now. It's just the attitude that we're kind of dealing with at the moment. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I did this video justice. I do think he needs to move teams, and I think he needs to move to the right team. Hopefully, Memphis can get the job done there and also get their future assets and protect their franchise for the years to come. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. and peace.